So here we are at my latest project. So this is a house that I bought back in September, and for various reasons, this one has just been sat on a back burner. I haven't really been able to do anything with it. But now we're into the new year, we've got a bit of money together, and we've got some build teams in. We're gonna look to refurb this one. And to be honest, it needs everything. We actually found this completely off market, completely direct to vendor. A lady passed away. She gave this house to her daughters, and they didn't want to keep it anymore, so they decided to sell it. And before it went to the market, we were able to speak with the vendors, agree a price, and we actually bought this for £65,000. Now, right now in the valleys, everything is just skyrocketing in price. So actually that delay that we've had getting started is going to benefit us because we can get a higher value than we originally thought possible. I'm actually doing this one as a joint venture. So on this particular occasion, I'm the one putting all the money in. And then my good friend Hannah Mills, who literally lives on that house over there, she's going to run this, sort out all the project management, deliver this, and just make it completely hands-free for me. I'm here today to have a look around, get a vibe of what needs to be done, go through the quote that we've had done on this, and make sure everything's looking good. But to be honest with you, I really, really like this house. The figures are fantastic, and I cannot wait to see what it's going to look like in around about 3 months' time. So starting from the outside, we're going to need new windows and new doors. You can see this is a pretty old wooden door. It's actually a bit of a pain to close and open as well. This is all single glazed, all the windows are single glazed. So we're gonna change all that out. We're gonna need new guttering as well, and just paint the front, tartan it up. It's not in bad condition outside, but it definitely needs a little bit of TLC. Moving in, you'll see pretty quickly that everything needs doing. So without further ado, let's head on in. So yeah, what a horrible dated post-filled house. One thing you want to check when you're looking at a lot of buy refurbs and flip houses is the plaster work, when you think you can get away with it. Now I looked at this house, I thought we're probably gonna end up having to re-plaster it entirely, go all the way back to brick. And this is a really good way of showing it. All this plaster has completely detached itself from the wall, and if you knock it, you can hear the hollowness behind. I mean, it goes without saying that plaster shouldn't really just come out the wall like that with my finger. It's meant to be a little bit more solid than that. So we're gonna have to replaster all of this. So all of this wall, every wall you see, be taken all the way back to brick. It'll literally just be the concrete pad and the joists on the floor, and then bare brick on the walls, and then everything new will come back in again. So there's a good 2 days worth of rip out here, if not 3. Plenty of skips, get rid of everything, and just take the whole thing all the way back to brick. I really like doing these kind of deals because it means you've got a fresh canvas to start from. Everything looks better. Yes, sometimes you're not going to want to do full replastering a house because it's very, very costly versus say just skimming or get away with lining and painting. That being said, when you do go for a full new plaster, it just looks fantastic. All the walls are perfectly smooth, perfectly straight. Look, it just looks stunning when you come into it. This property is definitely going to need a rewire. You can see the electrics up here are not in great condition. This is the old consumer unit up here. And yeah, it's just very, very dated. This house doesn't even have central heating. There's no radiators downstairs. You will not see any form of heating downstairs. The place is cold. Like even now, it's a pretty warm day. It's like 20-something degrees outside. It's quite cold inside. And realistically, I don't really know how people used to live like this, but there's an old lady who lived here well into her 80s. She lived there for like 30-something years with no heating. Just a completely different generation of people there. I mean, we moan about the house getting a bit cold now, the heat's still on. So yeah, you can see here in the living room, it came with all the furniture, everything like that. So we're gonna have to move all this out, bin all this as well. We've got an old fireplace here. Clearly a little bit retrofitted. You can just see the state of the wall behind this lining here, and sellotaped on a bit of wallpaper there to make it look a little bit nicer. But yeah, all this will come out. We'll go right back to brick. We're probably gonna leave the chimney breasts in. There's not a lot of point taking them out. They're not taking up that much space. We'll lose the hearth, obviously lose all the carpet and everything else. New windows, new doors, everything's being replaced. This will look really, really nice when it's done. You can see just the odd shapes in this house. You got the bending in the ceiling here. And that's partly because this wall isn't straight. It bends this way, and partly because the ceiling bends down a little bit. It's worse than it looks. There's nothing actually wrong with the house, but we obviously will fix all that with new plaster, new joinery, etc. Moving in here, we're gonna take out this wall here. It is brick, but you can hear it moving a little bit. It's not structural. We should get away with taking this out. So we're going to open this up, make it completely open plan. This one is slightly more modern, if I can get away with saying that, but it's still cold. You know, we've still got single glazed windows here. I mean, look at the state of those wooden frames, they're horrible. Everything just needs doing. There's not a lot of damp, but it is very cold, which naturally causes a lot of stuff like this. You can see some moisture in the wall down here. In fact, that is wet, but we're going to get away without too much in the way of damp course. Just heating it up will make life a little bit better. I mean, look at that. That's actually wet to the touch. So All this will need to be replaced. The fireplace will be replaced. We'll probably still put a modern electric one in here, but everything else will be done, and we'll lose the one next door, and we'll have radiators to keep the house warm because they work really, really well. Moving to the kitchen. The kitchen's quite small in this house. We want to open it up a little bit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take out part of this wall here. We're gonna open that through here. We'll end up with just a pillar here to support it. This is a structural wall here. There's a structural wall in here, so we can't take that out. That does support the house. It's actually the external wall. We are gonna have to leave that in, but we can open up the other side here, and we can make use of this here. We can turn that into sort of the fridge space, which gives you a little bit more usable space in the kitchen, but it's not massive. But it'll still look really, really nice when it's done. Obviously a brand new back door. This is not ideal. New windows in here as well. I mean, we don't even have locking mechanisms on it. That's how old this is. Very, very dated house. All these cupboards in here that are currently housing some of the old hot water system. You know, all of this will come out again. We'll take that all the way back, open it up, and the kitchen won't look quite as small as it does now when it's done, but it still won't be massive. That's why we're gonna make use of this bit of space here. And if we can open up a little bit, then we will. Just a cost exercise here about whether or not it's worth beginning to put a couple of steels in. Is it gonna add to the value? Is it not? That's something we have to look into. And a lot of this, when you're looking to do a flip or a buy refurb, is just cost versus reward. Is it worth doing it? Running all the different options. You're not gonna know straight away. You've got to run the different options and see which one makes the most profit for you, which one makes the most sense. Hey, you might have budget limitations where you can only spend a certain amount of money because that's all you've got. Well, then you've got to work with that as well. In this particular occasion, you know, the margins are so big on this that we've got plenty of room to play with it and to do some a little bit more creative things and make it a little bit nicer. Off the back of the kitchen, we've got the bathroom in here with one of the weirdest layouts in a bathroom I've ever seen. So behind this door, you have the toilet. So this is a really weird one. You come in here and then you come into another door and there's a toilet, but I mean, you couldn't use them separately because if you count a toilet and someone's showering, I mean, they're still showering, you're still gonna see them, so it doesn't make any sense. We'll take this stud wall out here, we'll open this up. The bathroom will be bigger as well because we'll lose this dead space, we'll lose this wall, and it'll just make a lot more sense. So new window again, new window here, full plaster. You can see the cracking here, it's just terrible. New bathroom suite. We'll go for a nice L-shaped bath, new toilet, new sink. They look really, really nice. New doors as well, new joinery throughout, everything. Literally everything will be brand new in this place. Good news though, no structural problems. And because we're in the valleys, you're gonna get some stunning views. What was that? First. I mean, look at that. Look at that. And there's a bedroom above here with the window that just looks straight out onto that. It's just stunning. And it's beautiful. And you can see, you know, these houses are built on really steep hills. We're almost a whole house level above those houses there, which are the next street down, and these are some very steep steps. Good news though, obviously this wall is solid. It has been repaired over the years. I mean, it needs some maintenance, it needs some TLC. It's doing its job, it's not broken or anything like that. We have a little bit of storage space down here, which we're gonna tidy up. We're gonna tidy up the back garden here. Again, do we gravel it? Do we astroturf it? It's something to look into, something to decide later on. At the moment, I think we're on the basis of gravel. But hey, this is where I get to be an investor in this deal. Hannah knows this area really well. She lives here. She's doing other flips on this street. She knows what the market wants. She knows how to drive the rent up. She knows how to drive the end value up. So I'm leaving it to her to decide what is the best way of refurbing this house to achieve maximum end value and achieve the most amount of profit we can. And obviously for her, she gets paid from the profits of the deal, so obviously she is incentivized to make it work better for her as well. But ultimately, it's a pretty good garden. It doesn't need a lot doing to it. Most people around here don't want huge gardens. They don't want loads of maintenance. In fact, if you're building new builds these days, you can get downvalued for having too much garden. These days, we're not gonna be looking at putting turf down or grass or anything like that. We'll just grade this out. We'll make it a nice low maintenance backyard, give it a clean, give it a jet wash, and everything will be sweet. So this is a lovely, large 3-bed terraced house. We've got plenty of room on the landing here. We do need to change this banister out for something more modern, put a new window in here. And when you move into this room, you'll see just how bad some of this plasterwork is. This whole house is like that. I mean, look, I'm not even trying. I'm literally scraping my finger up there and it's falling off. You know, this, your plaster's not meant to do this. I can stick my finger outside, look. Look at that, my finger's now outside. Most of the time when we're looking at refurbs, we don't want to be changing windows. Windows do drive your value up pretty well, but they're also very expensive. We're looking at the best part of 10 grand just on windows and doors in this place. There's a lot of money that goes into your windows and your glass and your UPVC. So if you can avoid doing them, I'd always recommend doing it. A house like this, we don't have a choice and we knew we were doing it on day one. And hey, we bought it cheap. We paid £65,000 for this house. And it's a nice big 3-bed terraced house. And it's gonna sell really, really well when it's done. So yes, new windows in here. Obviously, we'll lose the bed. This Like, it's, everything is just falling apart. You see the cracks in the plaster here. It's completely falling off the wall, and we'll obviously open the ceiling up as well, take that right back, putting brand new ceiling in throughout. Be a nice bedroom when it's done. Good size, really good size. We're gonna move now into the second bedroom, and this bedroom isn't too small. This is the second smallest room, but it's still a good size. The floor again is a bit wonky, very similar to another house I was in this morning. We're gonna look to see if we can level it up a bit, but there's a limit to what you can do, and ultimately packing your joists and your floorboards a lot of the time doesn't necessarily achieve the end result that you want. So we're probably gonna end up leaving it slightly sloped, but this is normal around here. People know that these houses do this. These houses are very old. There was subsidence at one stage. It's settled now, and the house is very, very solid. We're not concerned by anything that we see or by sloping floors. And a lot of the people in the local area, they know that this is a thing, so they're not put off by it within a house like there might be in some other areas. So yeah, it's a good property. What I particularly like is the cabling here for the light switch. There's no channel on that or anything. That's actually just wallpaper straight over the cable. So yeah, definitely need to attend to that. Moving in here, we now have the third bedroom, which is not the biggest. It's more of a box room, kind of like a cot room if you had a couple just moved in, maybe they just had a child, something like that. This would be a beautiful room for the baby. You could do a lot with this quite easily. It's not massive, but it's at least square, it's usable. It's got a decent sized window in as well, so there's plenty of light. You could in theory have a bathroom up here, but it's really not gonna make it worthwhile. And we're gonna get better value with a 3-bed and 1 bath than with a 2-bed, 2-bath. That's not always the case, but in this particular occasion, it is. It's gonna work much better. And yes, the bathroom's downstairs, but that's very, very typical of the area we're in. It's not irregular, it's not out of the box, it's not something that people are super bothered about if there's not a bathroom upstairs. So in this particular occasion, it works really, really well for us. We're not gonna spend loads of money putting a bathroom up here. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to do so. We've got a decent sized roof space. There's not enough room in it or any sort of real way of getting up into the loft and creating an attic room up there. That being said, the roof is solid, the joists look good. There might be a couple of rats we'll have to attend to, but we'll come and cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, all in, the house sucks, to be honest with you, in terms of its condition, but it certainly doesn't suck when it comes to the numbers. So I mentioned we paid £65,000 for this house. All of this refurb is coming in at 31,170 thereabouts. Call it 32K. So we're in now for about 97,000, include your stamp duty, and you include your conveyancing fees, etc. We're in for about 100 grand. Now this house will sell for 150K when it's done in about 3 months' time. It's looking at 50 grand profit in, well, since September. So that'll be about 9 months at that point. So 50K, not a bad deal at all. Not a bad deal at all. I like this one, and I'm really, really pleased that we're able to flip it on and make a good margin. When you're looking to do joint ventures with people, if you want to do it on a buy refurb refinance, that's great because you can get in, you borrow the money from someone, then you refinance, pay them back, and then you've got a rental unit. But if people are looking to take a profit split or stay in the deal, not just give you a fixed return on their money, then it's much better to sell your units at the back end because there's a nice clean exit for the deal there. I mean, ultimately, you don't know when you start the deal how you're gonna work with someone and whether or not you can have a good business relationship. You might get to the end of the deal and decide that, you know, you guys don't want to be in business anymore. Well, if you've got a rental unit and you both get paid from the rents, it's a bit messy, it's a bit kind of awkward trying to sort that out. If you sell off, then at the end of each deal, there's a clean break, it's nice and straightforward, nice and simple, and people can take their money and go their separate ways if they want, or obviously they can go again. On this particular one, the margins are just so big that, hey, I don't want to keep this one. I want to sell it. I want to take the margins. I want to get that capital uplift. And ultimately, we're kind of expecting a bit of market drop sometime in the next year anyway. So I'm going to take it while the market's hot, take the capital so that when the market does drop, I can buy some more stuff like this. If you're an investor and you like the look of this deal, maybe you want to do it for yourself, why not click the link below and have a free introductory call with myself or one of the members of the team, and we can help you work out what is the best way for you to invest your money in the property market for the best returns and the lowest risk. So if that's for you, click the link below now. I look forward to speaking with you.